Hi, everyone. This is Nancy Ridgway, the Artistic Director of R5 Productions. Tonight's episode is entitled The Legacy, our third installment of the Broken Hollow Banshee, written by Rob Rosiello. This is an original work by R5's very own executive director. Rob, however, is an award-winning and celebrated playwright, and Jim and I couldn't be more honored or thrilled to have partnered with him in this venture. Before we get started, a couple of reminders. If you missed the first two episodes or any of the previous radio plays, all are available for listening on the R5 Productions YouTube channel or our website. This drama is presented in 4 installments, so we won't be hosting our usual talkback after the show tonight, but we'll host a talkback right after the last episode on October 25th. Finally, we have a special promotion to offer. Anyone who donates $20 or more between now and December 31st will receive a bonus episode of the Broken Hollow Banshee that tells the story of Finola Pembroke, the banshee who drove the Pembroke family from Ireland to America, which was recorded with original cast members of the show, and it'll be sent to you for your own personal listening. It will not be made available to the public at this time. Donations are accepted through PayPal at rproductions2020@gmail.com. Okay, enough of me. Let's start the show. Sit back, relax, and enjoy tonight's episode of the Broken Hollow Banshee, The Legacy.
Previously on the Broken Hollow Banshee. The Glenravel caretaker tells Ivy and Gladys of the Pembroke Banshee that plagued the family back in Ireland for centuries. When the family fled to America, peace and tranquility reigned for nearly 100 years, until a series of tragic events convinced the family that the Banshee was back and with a vengeance. Ivy and Gladys refused to leave and instead began exploring the vast estate of Glenravel. They soon discover a small family cemetery behind the remains of the main house. A startling revelation on a tombstone raises more questions as Ivy again sees the woman from the previous night. This time, the mysterious woman chases them back inside the carriage house. The next morning, Gladys announces she and Ivy are taking a day trip to the other side of the mountain to hopefully gain some answers from a long-lost member of the Pembroke family.
Monday Morning Hymns has been brought to you by Sunnyside Salmon in a Can. Just one taste, and you're a fan. Tune in tomorrow for
I'm not nearly as worried about a banshee chasing me as I am that jingle haunting me for the rest of my life. So, to be clear, Deirdre Pembroke, my
great aunt,
is still alive and living.
in a convent.
In a convent on the other side of the mountain?
I think that sums it up.
Nothing weird about that. No, nothing weird at all.
Darius said if we insisted on staying, you needed to meet Deirdre, who now goes by Sister Mary Lucretia.
Did you tell him what happened last night?
I told him what you thought you saw.
And the chapel doors, you saw them. And the bells, you heard them.
Something happened last night, I'll give you that.
Thank you.
But Darius thought going to see Sister Mary Lucretia would answer a lot of questions you still have.
Happy to know someone believes me.
Ouch.
Was that too much?
No, I'm the queen of too much.
Amen to that.
Hey, save those amens for the convent.
Oh, could this trip get any more mysterious?
Oh, I'm sure it will. I am sure it will. Okay, here we are.
It's now or never, I suppose.
Sister Mary Lucretia, here we come.
Does she know we're coming?
Ivy?
Oh, I think she knows.
Aunt Deirdre? I mean...
Oh, it's fine. My heavens. Ivy Pembroke.
Did Darius call to say we were coming?
I knew this day would come. I prayed for it. I simply didn't think I'd live to see it. But here you are.
And here we are.
Sister, this is my friend, Gladys Crenshaw.
Nice to meet you, Gladys. And Ivy, you can call me Aunt Deirdre if you like.
Oh, I do. Very much so.
You have questions, I'm sure.
Lots.
Shall we retreat to the garden to talk?
I'd love that.
She's not what I expected.
Oh, this entire trip isn't what I expected.
Would you care for some tea?
Oh, I don't want to take up your time.
I waited a lifetime to meet you. My time is yours to take.
We were sent here by Darius.
Darius Ben? Bless his heart. Is he still living in Pembroke Hollow?
They call it Broken Hollow now.
Of course. How unfortunate still.
He's still the groundskeeper at Glenravel.
You're not staying there, are you?
In the carriage house, yes.
Oh, that's not safe. You're not safe there.
Darius said the same thing.
Darius is correct, bless his soul.
He sent us here because of the Banshee.
Have you seen her?
Seen and heard.
Darius is right. You need to go.
What I need are some answers.
What brought you to Broken Hollow and Glenravel?
My mother, when...
Lana? Is Lana with you?
Did you know her?
Her will informed me of the town and Glenravel.
Her will? Lana?
She passed.
Oh, I'm so sorry.
I'm sorry to have to tell you like this.
I never met Lana. I never knew her. I was never given the chance.
Did you know her mother, Meg?
Margaret Pembroke? Margaret? Oh, the Honorable Dr. Margaret Pembroke. She certainly is a powerful woman.
She was.
Margaret has passed too?
Granny Meg died in France working as a doctor during the war.
Of course she did.
You knew Granny Meg?
She never spoke of you.
Margaret Pembroke despised me.
Oh.
It is not the Christian thing to say, but the feeling was more than mutual.
So Where would you like to start? It sounds like there's quite the story to tell.
I've been here at Angel Grove for nearly 30 years, but the story you need to hear goes back to 1925, back to my days at Glenravel, back when Carrie Bell and my son Silas were expecting their first child, back before Sister Mary Lucretia, when I was still called Deirdre.
Christ be with me, Christ within me, Christ behind me, Christ before me,
Carrie Bell?
Christ beside me, Christ to win me, Christ to comfort and restore me.
Carrie Bell Pembroke.
I'll be in shortly, Deirdre.
Margaret is on her way. She just passed through town.
But how do you know?
Cousin Louise called to tell me.
Well, I'll pray for her soul too.
Carrie Bell, are you still in your housecoat?
I needed to pray in the chapel. She won't come in the chapel.
Who, Margaret? Her judgment and scrutiny know no limits. She'll see you in that ratty housecoat and think we're running a boarding house for destitute mothers.
Did Darius deliver the boxes that arrived?
There are 2 parcels here in the back pew.
Bless his heart.
Good Lord, Carrie Bell, what have you ordered now? More things for the baby?
No, for the chapel.
For the love of all that is holy, what are you doing with dozens of hand mirrors?
She won't come in here if she knows there are mirrors everywhere. Oh, Christ be with me, Christ within me.
Margaret will be here any minute, Carrie Bell.
I'm not scared of Margaret. I'm scared of her.
Carrie Bell, you need to listen to me and listen to me carefully.
Christ beside me, Christ to win me.
Margaret Pembroke wants nothing to do with the legend of Finola Pembroke.
Christ to comfort and restore me.
She was raised on it. I married into it. Neither of us believe in it.
But I do. I believe in her. I've heard her.
You heard the wind.
I've seen her.
She's a myth.
You saw her too.
I've never seen.
You did. I know you did.
It's 1925, Carrie Bell. Houses have electric lighting and people travel in automobiles. Ridiculous myths and ignorant legends about banshees from the motherland simply don't hold up anymore.
Oh, I know you think I'm ridiculous and ignorant.
I think impending motherhood has taken its toll on you.
You never wanted me to marry your son.
Silas would agree with me that all this banshee nonsense is just that, nonsense.
No, he would agree with me.
No, he wouldn't. Because he's driving Margaret here from the train station, and they'll be arriving any minute. And now they're here.
Oh, Christ beneath me, Christ above me, Christ
Slip in through the kitchen and use the back stairs.
Like a servant, if we had any.
Oh, you and Margaret will get along just fine. Just fine.
Hello, Mother. Aunt Meg arrived safe and sound.
Where is she?
Inside the house. She was eager to see you.
Oh, you're a terrible liar, just like your father.
Where's Carrie Bell?
She's in the chapel.
She left the house. That's good, isn't it? That's truly good.
She's ordered dozens of little hand mirrors and is currently laying them all about the chapel. How truly good is that, I ask you?
I'll talk to her.
She needs more than a talk.
She's scared.
I'm scared too. For her, for you, for your baby.
Don't you think I'm afraid too?
I wouldn't know. You spend nearly every waking hour at an office that no longer has any business.
I live with her fear day in and day out, fear of an old family legend, fear of a baby that she's convinced will be taken from her.
What about your fear?
My fear pales in comparison to hers.
Do you know where I found her last?
Praying in the cemetery, turning on every light in the house in the wee hours of the morning.
I found her cowering in a closet at the carriage house.
She'll be fine.
She was mumbling prayers over a handful of beads that used to be a rosary.
Once the baby comes...
rosary that she had literally torn to pieces. She was clutching them so hard.
Once the baby comes...
Once the baby comes, may be too late.
You should go inside and say hello to Aunt Meg.
She doesn't want to see me any more than I wish to see her.
Be that as it may, she came for us. She came for the baby. She mentioned staying through the birth.
Of course she did.
She's waiting for you.
Of course she is. She can wait a few more minutes.
But I can't. I have to tend to my wife, who is going to be absolutely fine, despite what you may think.
Nice and quiet. Cress in danger.
Go! Tend to that! I'd rather face Finola Pembroke. But Margaret Pembroke, here I come. Why, Margaret Pembroke, it's been too long.
Deirdre? I'm mildly impressed.
Oh?
I see you've added electric lights. The last time I set foot in this house, it was still lit by candles and gas lanterns. And yet this family still cowers in the shadows of the past.
I'm thrilled to hear that Boston has not diminished that sharp tongue of yours.
Am I wrong?
Are you ever?
I assume Silas will be bringing in my bags, as there appears to be no one left on staff.
And what a joy to have you here.
I think we can immediately dispel with the forced pleasantries. There's no one around to impress, Deirdre.
Then why, pray tell, are you here?
Why? Because I was summoned. Your letters were insistent and dreadfully dire. And when I couldn't take them any longer, I spoke with Silas and he concerned me. So what else could I do?
When did you speak to Silas?
Last week, when she called asking if she should come home.
And how could I resist that dashing face?
Over the phone? Easily.
I'll bring your bags in, Aunt Meg. Once I bring down Carrie Bell for you to finally meet.
Is that her scurrying across the lawn toward the back of the house?
Oh, she was in the chapel for her daily prayers.
Sounds like someone else I know.
Silas, my love, bring in Margaret's bags and then fetch Carrie Bell to join us for tea.
Of course. Aunt Meg, thank you again for coming. It means a lot. How is Cousin Lana?
Oh, she loves being a nurse at Boston General. Now that I've left the hospital and gone into private practice, mothers and daughters were never meant to work together.
Oh, she wrote me she loved working with you.
My bags aren't going to bring themselves in, you big gossip.
Back in a jiff.
Oh, I miss my nephew.
How is Lana?
You have no right to ask me that.
I have every right
You
to...
most certainly do not. You gave up any rights when you decided to...
Carrie Bell is insisting she not only has heard her, but she claims to have seen her.
And I wonder who fed her all that nonsense.
This family gives you no choice. The tale of Finola Pembroke is shoved down your throat from the moment you enter this house.
Perhaps when Grandmother Nessa was still alive, or my poor brother Nolan, or when there were still servants working these halls with time to whisper and tittle-tattle.
There still would be servants here if all the money over all those years hadn't gone to nannies and governesses and boarding schools.
That was all part of the agreement.
Agreements made before I married your brother.
Agreements that are tantamount to a deal with the devil.
Why did you really come back, Margaret? I scarcely doubt it was my worried letters or my son's passive phone call.
You don't do anything sincerely, Deirdre O'Connor Pembroke. Nothing except sincerely marrying my brother at the age of 16 and sincerely lying, saying you were 19.
I loved your brother, despite what you and Grandmother Nessa thought.
You put on quite the show, proving that to everyone. Hiding in the chapel for a whole week with baby Silas to prove that ridiculous legend of the wailing spirit.
For someone who thinks it so ludicrous, you certainly have benefited from that ridiculous legend.
Being sent away as a child and then being bribed into staying away, how did I benefit?
I don't know, Dr. Pembroke. You tell me.
Yes, the family paid for my education, but at what cost? And then you allow them to do the same with your own daughter?
I had no choice but to give Lana to you to raise as your own.
And now you want to take that choice away from poor Carrie Bell.
What about poor Carrie Bell?
My dear, at long last, I'm your dear Aunt Meg.
Why did you say poor poor Carrie Bell.
Oh, she felt bad making you drag yourself down that big staircase to see her. She would gladly have come up to see you.
Oh, I couldn't let her do that.
Why on earth not? I'm not that elderly. Not yet, anyway.
No, the room isn't ready yet. It's
Not ready? Still
No.
setting up the crib and bassinet for the little one.
no, it's not for her. It's
Her?
Geraldine Grace.
Carrie Bell is convinced she's having a baby girl.
And why on earth do you think that, my dear?
Because she told me.
Who did, dear?
Finola.
Finola.
Mhm,
Finola
yes, ma'am.
Pembroke told you that your baby is a girl.
Yes, ma'am. We have to finish preparing the room, so when she's born, Finola won't come and take her away.
Who on earth is ringing those chapel bells?
I asked sweet Darius to make sure they were working. I heard that every time a Pembroke baby was born, the chapel bells would ring for all to hear and announce the arrival of a new family member.
That must be a new tradition. I don't recall chapel bells.
You were never around for the birth of a Pembroke baby.
I was briefly present for the birth of one.
Well, I think it's a sweet tradition, but it'll also help with the plan.
Plan?
Do tell, what plan is this, Carrie Bell?
Oh, they say banshees are vain creatures and get mesmerized by their own reflections. Silas and I are hanging mirrors about my bedroom, so when Geraldine Grace arrives, Finola will be distracted and won't take her.
Deirdre, did you
and-
know this?
I had no idea, Margaret, no idea.
And once the baby is born, the chapel bells will ring, luring Finola down to the chapel and away from Geraldine Grace. Once in the chapel, Finola will be trapped by the reflection of her image in all the tiny hand mirrors I've placed about the pews. We'll have her trapped, and then Darius and Silas can shut the doors, trap her inside.
Carrie Bell, dear, where in the world did you get an idea like this?
Oh,
Didn't you take me, Mother, and hide in the chapel for nearly a week after I was born to protect me?
uh-huh.
I took you there to pray for you. You were so tiny and sickly when you were born. I took you to the chapel to pray for your recovery.
That's not what Father told me before he died.
Your father was nearly mad with fever when he passed during the influenza pandemic.
I grew up on that story.
Silas has heard her too.
You both have heard
Finola Pembroke.
Yes, ma'am.
I thought Carrie Bell was exaggerating, but I heard Finola wailing out in the cemetery the other night when I was out looking for Carrie Bell. I didn't believe Carrie Bell until I heard it with my own ears. We have to protect our daughter.
Silas, we will protect our daughter.
Yes.
Carrie Bell, dear, why don't you and Silas go upstairs and get ready for dinner? You can show your Aunt Margaret the bedroom later.
If it's agreeable to Auntie Meg.
Delightful. Now scoot on and prepare for dinner.
Go on up and get ready, darling. I'll be right there.
I'm so happy you're here, Auntie Meg.
As am I, dear. As am I.
Silas Pembroke, have you lost your mind?
Nearly. What else am I to do? Carrie Bell has been slowly slipping away from me and now has descended into this hysteria about the family banshee and the fear of losing our child.
I took you to the chapel at the insistence of Nessa Pembroke, your great-grandmother. She swore by the legend of Finola as if it were the holy gospel.
Silas, dear, go up with Carrie Bell. She's a sweet little thing, but I fear for her safety and your child's if she's left alone for too long.
Thank you for coming, Aunt Meg. I know you and Mother don't see eye to eye, but I knew she couldn't do this on her own.
You did the right thing, dear. Now go. I know why I'm here.
Do you think I want to send away another child from this house?
You let them take Lana and give her to me to raise.
You know I had no choice. Nessa ruled this house with an iron fist. I was young, and Nolan did anything his grandmother demanded.
But now Nessa's gone. I did my part. I raised Lana as my own. I'm not a young woman anymore, Deirdre, and for that matter, neither are you. I can't raise a child at this age, despite the clear danger that child will be in with a mother as unhinged as Carrie Bell is now.
Silas still doesn't know that Lana is his sister.
Nor should he.
But he suggested sending the baby away with you both, should it be a girl.
He wants Lana to raise his child?
It was his idea.
And what does he plan on telling Carrie Bell?
I'll tell her whatever she needs to hear.
Oh, Silas Pembroke, what on earth are you doing with your father's shotgun?
I found it by Carrie Bell's bed. She claims shooting salt from a shotgun can't kill a banshee, but it can slow her down till the church bells have lured her away from Geraldine Grace and out to the chapel.
Oh God, the poor girl is unhinged.
I need your help, Aunt Meg. Yours and Cousin Lana's. I need to get the baby away from here until I can take care of Carrie Bell and can safely bring my baby home.
What you're asking me to do is impossible.
I don't know what else to do.
Hide that shotgun, and we'll discuss our plan as we prepare dinner.
Oh, I couldn't possibly eat anything now. And to be clear, I don't prepare meals.
Of course you don't.
There's my Aunt Meg. I'll find a place to hide this.
Now you see how desperate the situation has become.
Clearly, if you sent for me.
I wouldn't have if I had any other options.
Have Silas take my bags back to the car. I'll remove what I need as I need it. That poor thing looks like she's about to burst any minute, and when she does, we'll need to move fast.
Darius can drive you and the baby to the train station when she finally arrives.
I swore I'd never return to Glen Ravel when you sent me away with Lana.
I'm glad you did.
I assume I'll be delivering the child?
That was the hope.
That's all we can do now is hope. Hope and pray.
How long did you have to wait?
Margaret was correct. Carrie Bell was more than due, and that very night of Margaret's arrival, the baby decided it was time.
And the baby was a girl, wasn't it?
Just as Carrie Bell had predicted. We barely had time to prepare. It all happened so fast. In her fervor to keep Finola away, Carrie Bell insisted all the electric lights be turned off throughout the house, and the baby was delivered by lamplight, just as Lana had been years before. Has she woken up yet?
Not yet. I still don't know what I'm going to tell her.
Tell her the baby is gone.
It will break her heart.
It'll be easier than watching your heart break over and over, not knowing what would happen to her or the baby if we hadn't done what we did.
I'm afraid it will break her.
Just remember it's temporary. Once we can get Carrie Bell the help she needs and hopefully away from Glen Ravel.
You don't believe anything she said, do you?
I've seen many things over the years.
What kind of things?
Things I could never explain. Flashes of light outside on the grounds and here in the house. Things your father never saw nor cared to believe.
Was Carrie Bell telling the truth? Did she see Finola? Was there some kind of truth locked up in her madness?
Guilt and grief can cloud even the clearest of minds over enough time.
The grief I understand, but the guilt I fear may drown me over the passage of time. And what is haunting you other than the sins we've just committed?
Darius was nowhere to be found tonight. The baby's arrival took us all by surprise. As I was driving Margaret to the train station, as we were approaching the gates of Glen Ravel, Margaret and I saw a flash of white race by the car. We thought maybe it was a deer, but it was much bigger and moving too fast to simply be a deer. Looking back at the manor house, we saw an eerie white light coming from the downstairs. In rooms we know the lights had been extinguished. It gave us pause, but not enough to stop until Margaret and the baby were safely on the last train out of town.
How long do you think they'll be gone?
For as long as it takes until it's safe for her to return.
Let's pray that it's not too long.
Do you need anything, my love? Coffee, some tea?
I think the occasion calls for something a bit stronger.
I think I can manage to find something suitable.
The bells? I don't hear the bells. Why aren't the bells ringing?
Shh. Just rest. You've been through a lot tonight.
Where is she? Where's Geraldine Grace?
Try and rest.
Where's my baby?
You need
Where is
to
she?
rest, Carrie Bell. Please, my darling, I beg of you.
I saw her take my baby. I saw her.
Who did you see?
She took her. I saw Auntie Meg holding my baby, and she took her away. She took my baby right from Auntie Meg's hands.
Carrie Bell, what are you doing? You can't get up from the bed.
She took her. She stole my baby.
No one took our baby.
I saw her do it. I saw her.
What on earth is going on here?
It's you, Finola Pembroke. Give me back my baby.
She's hysterical.
Give her back to me.
Carrie Bell, what are you doing? The lantern. Put the lantern. No!
She set the curtains on fire.
God, Carrie Bell, what have you done?
Silas, get her out before the fire spreads.
Give her back to me. Seated from hell.
Dear God, Silas, she has the shotgun.
Carrie Bell, go!
No, get away from him. No, you can't have him too.
Oh, Carrie Bell, what have you done?
Silas!
Mother, run! Run!
That was the night. That night in 1925. That was the night Glenravel Manor burned.
And the baby that Margaret took to Boston.
Margaret and Lana raised. They no longer had a choice, now that both Silas and Carrie Bell were gone.
And they renamed the baby.
They called the baby
Ivy.
They called you Ivy.
And Lana was your daughter?
The daughter I never saw. The daughter I never knew.
All this over a family legend. A myth?
It was no myth.
You never believed in Finola Pembroke. You thought Carrie Bell, my real mother, you thought she was crazy.
After the fire, after I had to bury my son and his wife, I moved into the carriage house. But the very night I did, I began to hear the wailing coming from the ruins of the house. I saw her wandering the cemetery.
You saw Finola?
I saw her. I heard her. I had to have Darius take down the chapel bells because they were ringing day and night on their own. I feared for what was to come for me, so I left Glenravel. The sisters here at Angel Grove asked no questions. They had heard the hushed whispers that had traveled across the mountains ahead of my arrival.
And you've been here ever since?
Everything you knew, everything you'd seen, why didn't you ever try to reach out to me? Why didn't you try to tell me you were my grandmother?
I tried many, many times.
Oh, you didn't try hard enough.
Margaret blocked my every move. All my letters were returned, and she refused to acknowledge what had happened or her part in it. I came here for the safety of our Blessed Mother, and Margaret sought refuge in the denial of our actions.
You still think the Banshee is real?
I know she is.
Gladys, we should be going. It's getting late.
Oh, I understand your anger. I've spent the better part of the past 30 years begging for our Blessed Mother's forgiveness and the strength to overcome this unchanneled guilt.
Thank you for your time, sister. I have a lot to think about.
Perhaps this will help.
A journal? I think you've already confessed enough of your sins.
You might find something in it that could help if you choose to stay at Glenravel.
Let's go, Gladys. We have a long drive ahead of us.
It was nice meeting you, sister.
God bless you both. Christ be with me. Christ be in me. Christ behind me. Christ before me. Oh, dear God!
Tune in next week for the exciting conclusion of The Broken Hollow Banshee, Episode 4, The Reckoning.